My parents called me selfish for keeping my rightful inheritance, so I cut them off, exposed their greed, and watched their lives fall apart. I never thought an inheritance would be the thing that finally pushed me to cut ties with my family. I'm 30M, and I've spent my entire life being the responsible one. The kid who didn't make trouble, who worked hard, who never asked for too much. My younger brother, Jake, 28M, was the opposite. He was the golden child. The one who could do no wrong, no matter how many mistakes he made. I didn't always resent him. As kids, it was small things. He got the bigger birthday parties, the expensive toys, the attention. When he wanted something, our parents would find a way to get it for him. I, on the other hand, was always expected to understand. If we both wanted the last piece of cake, I was the one told to let him have it because I was older. If we fought, I was the one who had to apologize, even if he was the one who started it. As we got older, the favoritism became impossible to ignore. I worked my way through college, juggling classes and a part-time job to cover tuition and living expenses. Jake? Our parents paid for everything. Tuition, rent, even his car. And when he dropped out, twice, they didn't get upset. They just told him, "You'll find your path." They even funded his failed business venture, which lasted all of 6 months before he gave up. Meanwhile, I was still paying off my student loans. But I sucked it up. That's just how it had always been. Then, last year, my grandfather passed away. He was one of the few people in my family who treated me fairly. He had built a successful business and was always careful with his money. Before he died, he made sure that his estate would be split evenly, half to me, half to Jake. $250,000 each. I didn't expect it, but I was grateful. And then my parents decided that was unacceptable. I remember the first call vividly. Mom's voice was sickly sweet, the way it always was when she was about to manipulate me. "Honey," she said, drawing out the word. "You know Jake is struggling right now." I didn't say anything, but my stomach tightened. "He has so much debt," she continued. "His car, his apartment, and you're so responsible with money. It only makes sense for you to help him out." I blinked. "Help him out?" Dad jumped in. "You don't have kids. You don't even have a mortgage yet. You have a stable job. Jake doesn't." I should have seen it coming, but somehow I hadn't. "You want me to give Jake my inheritance?" I asked, already knowing the answer. "Not all of it, of course," Mom said quickly. "Just enough to help him get back on his feet. Maybe half? Half? $125,000. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because I couldn't believe they were serious. "Mom, Grandpa split it evenly. He wanted us to have equal shares." "But Jake needs it more than you," she insisted. "Then why didn't Grandpa leave him more?" I shot back. That's when her tone changed. "Don't be so selfish," she snapped. "Jake is your brother. Family takes care of each other." I felt my blood boiling. I had spent my entire life taking care of myself. I had never asked for their help. Why was I expected to take care of Jake? "I'm not giving him my money," I said firmly. Silence. Then, in a cold voice, my dad said, "You'll regret this." After that, the guilt tripping started. Jake called me that night, playing the victim. "Bro," he sighed, "I know you probably think I don't deserve it, but I'm drowning. I lost my job, my landlord is threatening to evict me, I'm barely holding on, and man, you've always had your life together." I wanted to feel bad for him, I really did, but then I remembered why he lost his job. He got caught stealing from his employer. It wasn't some innocent mistake. He had been padding invoices and pocketing the extra cash. When they found out, he was fired on the spot, and now he wanted me to bail him out? "I can't help you," I said. Jake's voice turned nasty. "You're seriously that selfish? You're hoarding money while I suffer?" I hung up. That's when my parents really went on the offensive. I started getting texts from aunts, uncles, and even distant cousins, people I barely spoke to. All variations of, "Jake is struggling and you're just letting him suffer? Family is more important than money. Do you really need all that money when your own brother is at risk of being homeless?" I was furious. It was clear my parents had told everyone. And of course, they twisted the story. I was painted as the greedy older brother who was hoarding money while my poor, struggling younger brother was on the brink of disaster. They conveniently left out the fact that Jake had already been given everything and wasted it. But the final straw? My mom called me again a week later, her voice dripping with disappointment. "I hope you know what you're doing," she said. "You're tearing this family apart." "No, Mom," I said. "You are." And then I did something I never thought I'd do. I blocked my parents. I blocked Jake. I cut off every single relative who had sent me a guilt-tripping message. For the first time in my life, I chose myself, but I had no idea just how far my parents were willing to go to make me pay for it. After I cut off my parents and Jake, I thought that would be the end of it, that they'd finally back off and let me live my life. I was wrong. The first few weeks of no contact were quiet, almost too quiet. I half expected my parents to show up at my doorstep, but nothing happened. I even let myself think that maybe, just maybe, they had accepted my decision. Then the retaliation began. At first, it was little things. A few mutual friends started acting weird. Texts that used to be casual turned short and awkward. A coworker I was friendly with suddenly stopped talking to me. Then one of my closest friends, Liam, 31M, texted me, "Dude, your parents have lost it. Call me ASAP." I called immediately. "They're telling people you stole the inheritance," Liam said, "that you manipulated your grandpa into leaving you more, that Jake was supposed to get the bulk of it, but you guilt-tripped him before he passed away." I was speechless. "They said you cut them off because you didn't want them calling you out," Liam continued. "Dude, people actually believe this," I laughed in disbelief. "Do they think a lawyer just let me change the will?" Liam sighed. "They don't care. Your mom is playing the grieving mother who just wants her sons to be close again, and your dad is telling people you're acting out of greed." I checked Facebook. Sure enough, my mom had made one of her infamous, vague posts. "Sometimes the child you give everything to turns around and betrays you. We tried our best, but some people only care about money." The comments were full of sympathy. "Stay strong, Mama. Family always finds a way. Praying for you. Greed is a terrible thing. I know Jake is struggling. You don't deserve this." Are you kidding me? I considered commenting, setting the record straight, but I knew it wouldn't matter. They had years of playing the victims. I couldn't undo that in one comment. So I did the next best thing. I posted the truth. I wrote out a long, detailed post explaining everything: the favoritism, the guilt-tripping, the inheritance manipulation. I included receipts, texts from my parents demanding money, messages from Jake calling me selfish, screenshots of my mom guilting me, and then I ended it with, "Since my parents love sharing half-truths on Facebook, here's the whole truth. I'm done being the scapegoat. If you want to believe their lies, go ahead, but I'm not going to apologize for finally standing up for myself." Then I hit post. The reaction was instant. My inbox blew up. Half my family members were furious, accusing me of airing dirty laundry and embarrassing my parents. But the other half, they had questions. Cousins, aunts, and even some of my parents' friends reached out privately. I had no idea it was this bad. "Honestly, we always suspected your parents favored Jake, but we didn't think it was this extreme. I can't believe they actually tried to manipulate the will." I even got a message from one of my uncles saying, "Your mom called me crying, saying you're ruining her reputation. But I told her if she didn't want her reputation ruined, she shouldn't have lied." I was finally being heard. But of course, my parents didn't take it well. A few days later, I was relaxing at home when I heard banging on my door. I checked my security camera. It was my dad. I didn't open the door. Instead, I picked up my phone. "Dad, what are you doing here?" He was furious. "Open this door right now," he barked. "You have 10 seconds before I break it down." I almost laughed. "You're really going to break down my door? Don't get to ruin this family and then hide," he snapped. "You have no idea what you've done." "I didn't do anything," I said. "I just told the truth." "That money wasn't yours," he exploded. I clenched my jaw. "Grandpa left it to me. If he wanted Jake to have more, he would have given him more. It's not my fault you always bail him out." That's when he said the craziest thing. "You're going to give Jake the money or we're taking legal action." I burst out laughing. "You seriously think you can sue me for money that was legally left to me? You have no idea what your mother and I are capable of," he hissed. And that's when I hung up and called the police. I wish I could say that was the end of it, but it wasn't. The next morning, I woke up to a notification from my bank, a failed attempt to access my account. I called the bank immediately. "What's going on?" the rep told me. "It looks like someone attempted to reset your login credentials. Did you request this?" "No." My stomach dropped. I checked my email. Several password reset attempts on different accounts. I knew it was my parents. They couldn't get my money, so they were trying to hack into my accounts. At that point, I lost it. I went straight to a lawyer, filed a cease and desist against my parents, secured my accounts with extra protection, notified my employer in case they tried to sabotage my job, and then I did something I never thought I'd do. I changed my last name. I was done. Done being their scapegoat. Done being manipulated. Done feeling guilty for things that weren't my fault. And when my parents found out, they lost it. I got one final email from my mom. I hope you're happy. You've destroyed this family. You will always regret this. I didn't reply. Because for the first time in my life, I didn't regret a damn thing. After the bank hack attempt and legal threats, I thought my parents had hit rock bottom. I was wrong. I had already blocked their numbers, cut off contact, and even changed my last name. I thought I had done everything possible to protect myself. But when people like my parents lose control, they don't just stop. They get desperate. And desperate people do crazy things. A week after I filed the cease and desist, my lawyer called me. "You're not going to believe this," he said, sounding annoyed, but also slightly amused. "What now?" I groaned. "Your parents are trying to contest your grandfather's will." I nearly choked on my coffee. "Are you kidding me?" "Nope," he sighed. "They're claiming that you manipulated your grandfather before he died and that the will should be invalidated." I burst out laughing. I couldn't help it. "This is actually insane," I said. "Oh, it gets better," he continued, and also claimed that Jake should have been the sole beneficiary because he was financially dependent on your grandfather. I swear I could feel my blood pressure spiking. This wasn't just them being petty anymore. This was them trying to steal my money through the courts. "What are the chances they win?" I asked. "Zero," my lawyer said immediately. "The will was airtight. There was zero evidence of coercion or foul play. The only thing they're doing is wasting time and money." I let out a long breath. Then let them waste it. But I underestimated just how far my parents were willing to go. A few days later, my mom showed up at my workplace. I was in the middle of a meeting when my phone started blowing up with messages from my coworkers. "Dude, your mom is at reception. She's crying. Security is talking to her. She's saying you're ruining her life." I excused myself from the meeting and went to the lobby, and there she was, dressed like she was going to church, dabbing her dry eyes with a tissue while a very uncomfortable security guard stood nearby. The moment she saw me, she collapsed into dramatic sobs. "How could you do this to us?" she wailed, loud enough for everyone to hear. I stared at her, completely unfazed. "Leave. You turned on your own family," she cried. "I gave you life, and this is how you repay me?" I crossed my arms. "You're trespassing. If you don't leave, I'll have security escort you out." "You think you're so much better than us now, don't you?" she spat, dropping the act in an instant. "Just because you have money? Because you think you don't need your family?" I gave her a blank stare. "I haven't needed you for a long time, Mom." Her face turned red with rage. "Jake was right," she hissed. "You're a selfish, greedy little bastard." And then she slapped me, in the middle of my workplace lobby, in front of security, my coworkers, and several clients. The slap itself didn't hurt, but the insanity of it all, the fact that she had the audacity to do this in public, that was it. I was done. "Call the police," I said to the security guard. Mom's face immediately changed. "No, you wouldn't." I looked her dead in the eye. "I would." She freaked out. She tried to play the victim again, screaming about how I was trying to ruin her life, but by then everyone had seen the real her. Security escorted her out while she wailed about how I was a terrible son. And me, I went back to my meeting. 2 months later, the will contest case was officially thrown out. The judge barely looked at it before dismissing it entirely. My parents had no case. And the best part? They had wasted thousands of dollars on legal fees, money they didn't have. Jake, being the entitled idiot he is, actually had the nerve to call me from a new number. "This is your fault," he snapped. "You're a heartless piece of shit," I chuckled. "Oh, what happened, Jakey boy? Mommy and Daddy run out of money?" He lost it. "I hope you die alone," he spat. I hung up, blocked the number. That was the last time I ever heard from him. A few weeks later, I got an email. It was from my dad. Subject: "One last chance." I rolled my eyes before opening it. "Your mother is not doing well. She cries every night because of what you've done. Jake is struggling, and we're at risk of losing the house. Is this really what you wanted? To destroy your own family over money? We're willing to put the past behind us if you are. Let's talk. I laughed. I didn't reply. Instead, I forwarded it to my lawyer. If they contact me again, file a restraining order. It's been 6 months since that email. My parents had to sell their house and move into a small apartment. Jake moved back in with them after getting evicted from his own place. Their social circle has abandoned them since word got out about what really happened. And me? I'm doing better than ever. I finally bought my own house, something I never thought I'd be able to do growing up in that toxic household. And the best part? I have peace. No more guilt. No more manipulation. No more family leeches. They thought I'd always be the responsible one, the one who bends over backward for them. But they were wrong, because now I don't have a family anymore. And for the first time in my life, I don't regret it. It's been a year since I cut ties with my parents and Jake. A whole year of peace. A year without my mother's manipulative guilt trips. A year without my father's passive-aggressive disappointment. A year without Jake's entitlement, whining, and demands for money. And let me tell you, I have never been happier. But let's rewind a bit. Because the last few months after I went no contact, they weren't exactly smooth sailing. Even after I filed a restraining order, my parents still tried to get to me. Through other people. At first, it was extended relatives trying to guilt trip me. You only get one mother, you know. Blood is thicker than water. Your dad's health is declining. Do you really want his last memory of you to be this? I ignored every single one. Then they tried my friends. I got a text from an old high school friend, Sarah, who I hadn't spoken to in years. Sarah, hey, your mom reached out to me. She said she's worried about you, wants to reconnect. I laughed. Worried about me? The same woman who tried to sue me? The same woman who slapped me at my workplace? I told Sarah, if she contacts you again, block her. Then the last attempt happened. I woke up one morning to an email from a fake account. No name, no details. Just, Jake is in the hospital. You should reach out before it's too late. For a split second, I hesitated, but then I remembered who I was dealing with. I deleted the email and moved on with my day. Because here's the thing, I don't care anymore. For years, I let them manipulate me with guilt. They always had a way of making me feel like I was the problem, like I was selfish for not sacrificing myself for their sake. Not anymore. You know how sometimes, even when you cut off toxic people, they still live in your head? For a while, I kept waiting for the guilt to hit me. But one night, I was sitting in my new house, drinking coffee on my porch, and I had this realization. I didn't feel guilty at all, not even a little bit. I wasn't waiting for their approval anymore. I wasn't waiting for their acceptance. I wasn't waiting for them to change. I had finally broken free. That's when I knew I was done. And the best part, it felt amazing. As for my parents, they lost everything. They had to sell their house and downsize to a small apartment. Their friends abandoned them after they realized what kind of people they really were. My dad had to take a part-time job because they ran out of money. Turns out, suing your own kid isn't cheap. And Jake? He never recovered financially. He tried to start another business, but it flopped within 6 months. Last I heard, he was living with my parents again, still blaming me for everything. Do I feel bad? Not even a little bit. Because for years, they told me it was my job to fix Jake's problems, that it was my responsibility to sacrifice for the family. But it was never about family, it was about control. And when they lost that, their whole world crumbled. It was never about love, it was about what I could do for them. And the moment I refused to be their personal ATM, I became the villain. So, where am I now? I bought my dream home. I started traveling, something I never got to do growing up because I was always working. I met someone amazing. And for the first time, I'm in a relationship where I'm not constantly being made to feel like I have to earn love. And most importantly, I have peace. I wake up every day without the weight of my parents' expectations on my shoulders. I go to bed every night without the anxiety of waiting for the next guilt trip. I finally feel like I am living my own life. I don't have to constantly worry about what my family thinks. I don't have to walk on eggshells afraid of being called selfish or ungrateful. I don't have to justify my success or feel guilty for my happiness. I am free, and let me tell you, it's worth it. To anyone out there dealing with toxic family members, let me tell you this. You don't owe anyone your happiness. You don't have to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. Blood means nothing if they treat you like garbage. I spent years being the good son, the responsible one, the one who always understood. And where did it get me? Used, manipulated, disrespected. But now I'm free, and I will never, ever go back.